Hello and welcome to Chat It Out. Here in the studio, I'm Egg. We're talking about memorable characters that you've loved on games. Here in the studio, I have Tribune.
Hello.
And we have Polo.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about characters that we remember loved or hated in games. So guys, tell me, what characters do you like or dislike or wish they would never...
Find annoying? Well, I've got quite a few characters I've absolutely loved over the years. Which, to be quite honest, is only really sort of kicked off over the last decade or so, to be honest. Because I used to play games, like your Mario games, but when you were really young, you didn't really care, and your Zeldas and all that sort of thing. But I think as soon as I brought Resident Evil 4 and then knew what a character actually is. So for me, it's probably got to be people like Leon Kennedy, John Marston, Nathan Drake. They're probably my top.
What about back in the day with people like Duke Nukem? Damn, I've been here forever.
Yeah, Duke Nukem, but let's be totally honest.
He's a bit too
you
deep.
wouldn't care less about the shooter if it wasn't Duke Nukem.
No, yeah, I agree.
You wouldn't really care, whereas at least with Red Dead and Resident Evil, it's a good story that comes with it.
Yeah, that's true.
If it weren't for Duke Nukem, the character would just be another, like a Doom or a Quake or something like that. You wouldn't really be that bothered about it. It's just Duke Nukem at the end of the day.
I've always liked the captain out of my old favourite game, The Dig, which was his name suddenly escaped me this minute. Captain Lowe. I don't know, I always found him an interesting character. And what about Wincewind of this world?
Yeah.
He's a character we used to like as kids. He was awesome. What about you, Dan, with like your Final Fantasies? And...
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Cloud Strife was my favourite ever from 7. Most of the main protagonists from it, School from 8, didn't much to Zidane from 9 or Tidus from 10. But yeah, definitely.
You liked to look. What about Marcus Phoenix? He was in.
Yeah, Gears of War. That's one of my favourite games for the 360. Marcus Phoenix definitely was one of the top characters, and I quite like. Although I didn't particularly like the game that much, and I never really got into it for the new Grand Theft Auto. I quite like Trevor's character because he was just out of his mind.
Yeah, how can we mention characters and forget about GTA 5? That's mad, isn't it? I like all of them. I like Trevor.
In Far Cry 3, I liked Voss because he was just bonkers.
Is that the guy who was like tripping out?
Yeah, and all that? Maybe it's just because I like crazy characters, but sometimes it was the crazier they were, the better they sort of seemed, or they were played well. But then it's the same of getting behind the whole. I sort of like the Faceless character, like Fallout 4 or Skyrim or Bioshock. They're not such a person because you're sort of seeing it from their eyes almost.
So when you.
So it's a character you create yourself, and you yourself, you create your own backstory, he's got his own name, where he's from and stuff.
So Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you create your own, I think when you create your own character, you sort of just like, my character is awesome. It's like you get to decide what you want to do, when you want to do it.
I just do that like in The Sims, in The Sims. Most people just make their own houses and just...
Yabo Zero.
Yeah.
Have a family. I used to actually...
This is awesome. So I actually
I just pretend they had their own business.
I made a character. I made a family. I made the dad skip everything, cooking, mechanics, skills, all up. He was basically just absolutely awesome. He was he was had an awesome job. And then I remember the Grim Reaper coming for him. I was like, no, this cannot happen. I actually reloaded the game before and then turned off death, aging, so he didn't die. I turned off the edge. I was like, I'm not having him drop dead on me, no way. But this character's awesome. But
you became that attached to it.
I think I played it after a day later. I haven't gone back to it since. I just seen him in the Grim Reaper was just like, oh. I was like, I ain't having this. I'm reloading and I'm going into settings. I'm turning off aging.
What about the random characters in Minecraft and stuff? No, they're not really characters.
Nah, not really. But shall I tell you one game that I've actually downloaded on Gold for free? Murdered Souls.
Oh, I've got that. Yes,
for something the guy you are, I do like him.
Yeah, He's a dodgy one, isn't he? Because he's sort of like he's a gangster that's not a gangster that wants to be a cop, and it's all about finding out
cop or something.
Find out who his killer is.
But the game reminds me a lot like if anyone's seen the film Ghost, because he's murdered, and basically he gets up, he gets thrown out of a window. He then gets up, goes to walk into the building. Someone opens the door on him, and he falls on his ass, and the old woman's like, looks freaked out, but it's to make you think that she's freaked out because she's just knocked a cop on his ass.
Not that.
When really she's just seen his dead body. He turns around, he's dead on the floor.
Yeah,
it's like what? Then that game is eerie. That's a good game. I do like him, and I've only been playing him for about an hour, so he's an interesting.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I didn't get very far into it. It's one of those games like, I'll go back to it, and then something else came up. But yeah, definitely. It's
good. I wouldn't recommend playing it at night time.
No.
It's eerie. It's just.
The demons and stuff.
And just go. So I just walked into a building and some guy walked through the wall and was like, oh, I thought I heard something. Oh, it's just you. Then walks back through the wall and he's like sitting on the couch, and you can walk through walls and possess people and read their minds and make them say stuff that is...
What's the scariest game you reckon you guys have played then?
Scariest game?
Outlast?
I lasted about 5 minutes. That's how much about that. I hate that game with a passion. I think it's the whole, like, obviously the fear factor of you have no weapons. Your weapon is a camera, and if the battery goes, you are doomed. I don't like it. Just the whole running away thing, and I'm not a fan of the horror genre anyway. But just to literally be in a green, like basically night vision camera, going through a mental asylum, or the new one set in a cornfield and stuff.
The demo. The demo is
watching
scary.
It was bad enough. No, it's not.
The demo is scary.
I think it's Outlast and Layers of Fear for me. Layers of Fear really got me, that did. Jesus.
Is that the one where you sort of like...
Oh yeah, is that one me and you were playing?
Oh,
and then we had to stop because it was only a demo, and then we had to go back to it.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, that was good actually. And things would jump at you, and then doors would move around. And Archie, watched somebody play it live on that Twitch or whatever it's called.
For me, that was scarier than Outlast. Because Outlast...
Is that the one where you're sort of like Spec Ops Cop, or is that just Fear?
No, that's
That's
Fear.
Why? You're just in a house, aren't you? And then it just starts doing.
But it's only because Outlast sort of starts off really scary, then gets a bit too sort of repetitive. He's just running away, hiding. Yeah. If you get caught, there's nothing you can do about it. Whereas with Layers of Fear,
it's very psychological, isn't it? You know, you'll be walking down a corridor, if I remember rightly, and you'll turn around and there'll be a room behind you, or where there was windows, there was a door, and then you'll go through the door. That was a room, and then when you'll go back out, go back in again, and there'll be a corridor, or you'll be outside, and you'll be like, what? And it really messes with your head.
The only other one like that, it didn't really scare me. It made me jump a lot, Dead Space series, playing them at night. When you like, especially like if you'd watch someone else playing, and you'd be like, oh, someone's going to jump out that vent, and you'd shoot on purpose, nothing would come out the vent, and you'd be minding your own business, and then behind you, and that was it. You're like, oh god.
I think parts of the Resident Evil games have been a bit. At that time, when you first come across the Resident Evil 4, or the earlier ones were probably scariest, weren't they? When you felt like you were quite helpless against everything in that game, even though you always had weapons, but you always felt like you were against the odds all the time.
The biggest fear about the original Resident Evil was trying to find a frigging typewriter cartridge to save the game.
Yeah. And the dodgy angles that never showed you quite what you wanted to see.
No,
you always felt like. I don't know. Maybe that added to it. But I just briefly Tomb Raider. How can we forget about Tomb Raider?
The newer Tomb. I found the last two, like the last two that were made, have been good. But like previous to that, they felt a bit wooden.
They got a bit sameish.
Since like the PS2, they just Tomb Raider was a case of we're going to make the puzzles so hard you need to be Stephen Hawkins to crack them.
Yeah.
And Lara Croft felt just wooden and not very real.
I mean,
it went more and more sort of supernatural.
The new ones were quite good, I thought.
Yeah,
really well. Especially the first one. I did get a bit SS in the second one, but I did like the very first new Tomb Raider. It was really. She felt much more human, didn't she? You felt you could relate to her, like all her struggles, like at the beginning through the cave and the fire.
What pushed the new Tomb Raider was its competition was the Uncharted series, because that came out and blew everything out of the water. Because the last Tomb Raider before that was just like. Can't even contend.
It was still quite robotic, wasn't it? Yeah. She walked around and like I said, the puzzles were stupid, weren't they?
But Uncharted, just brilliant story. Easy to control character. The puzzles weren't that difficult. You'd be stumped and you'd be like, and it'd hint if you needed it. And obviously Tomb Raider saw that must have stepped up its game majorly because the last two they brought out were really good.
Yeah. Right, just briefly, what if you were to name one game, not counting Skyrim, that has just stood the test of time for you? All three of us name one. Dan?
Final Fantasy 7 for me.
The first one must be the best one. Just the first one that really stuck.
Because obviously, even going back quickly, for me, for FF7, they're remaking it. You know what I mean? It's getting a PS4 adaptation where they're completely like redesigning it. So it's got to be pretty. Yeah, exactly. It's got to be pretty good if they're going to completely remake the game.
Yeah.
For me, it's difficult for me, but I've got to go with a genre that I always wanted them to bring out. They finally did, and as far as I'm concerned, they nailed it on the head, and that's got to be Red Dead for me.
Yeah, it's pretty fair.
And for me, Rome Total War, because I'm all about Rome. Right, characters. We're almost out of time, but what's best character ever in all games, on all platforms? First Weeds Feet, yeah, they were the best.
See, I'm not going to
say the obvious, you mean?
Yeah, for me, it is obvious, but okay,
John Marston.
It's John Marston, but I'm going to actually come up with somebody else.
Yeah, because obviously I'll pick Cloud from 7.
Oh, it's so difficult.
Marcus Phoenix for me then,
right,
because just it was
hardcore.
He was hardcore, and I just like the way that he like as a character. He looked like a man should be.
Yeah.
Like he was like a big. Whoa.
Yeah,
he was a big I am. So yeah, Marcus Phoenix.
Marcus Phoenix. Pella. I'll just say John Marston. There you want it.
Yeah,
Can't think of anyone better.
I think it's got to be Nathan Drake.
Oh, okay, Nathan Drake.
As a second.
Alright, I might stick up for John Marston then as one of the most memorable characters ever. John Marston.
So I mean, even though obviously Leon's up there from the Resident Evil series, sometimes he was
only so much with him.
Yeah, sometimes he didn't really have the best personality ever. He was just there to do a job. That was it.
Yeah. I don't know. John just seems so multi-layered, doesn't he? And I don't know. He's like, I don't know.
But you wouldn't have a problem putting a bullet in your head.
Yeah. Right, thank you guys. Thank you Tribune. Thank you Polo. It's been a really good chat out. I hope you've enjoyed listening. And feel free to comment or give suggestions on what other games you think we should talk about. So for more of us,
laters.
See you in a bit.
Adios and make it so.